ESS, Water and Aquatic Food Production Part 3, will examine the human activities that impact the hydrological cycle. I have touched on this topic in the first movie of this series, as well as in the Nutrient Cycles unit earlier in this course. The significant ideas are the hydrological cycle is a system of water flows and storages that may be disrupted by human activity. The supplies of freshwater resources are inequitably available and unevenly distributed, which can lead to conflict and concerns over water security. Here is the first slide of 2 that provides an outline of the movies available in the Water Aquatic Food Production unit. Use this outline to find the movie you need for review. This movie is focused here. Here is the second slide outlining the movies available in the Water Aquatic Food Production unit. Here are the 2 IB syllabus statements that form the basis of this movie. Describe the impact of human activities on surface runoff and infiltration, including agriculture, deforestation, and urbanization. Discuss human impact on the hydrological cycle. So, with a diagram of the hydrological cycle, as you examine this image, imagine the ways in which humans impact the flows and storages that make up the cycle. This is a table that shows how various sectors of society in the United States use water. People withdraw water from storages, particularly for use in agriculture and the power industry. You can see the large numbers here, which represent millions of meters cubed per day. Withdrawals for household use is relatively small. Now, the electric power industry puts most of the water back, most of the water that it uses, it puts back into rivers. You can see very little of the water that is withdrawn is actually consumed. But irrigation is different, where most of the withdrawn water for agriculture never returns to rivers, thus the very high level of consumption you can see here. Here are 2 IB syllabus statements that provide specificity to the examination of human impacts on the hydrological cycle. Describe the impact of human activities on surface runoff and infiltration, including agriculture, deforestation, and urbanization. Discuss human impact on the hydrological cycle. Now, human activities are having the following impact on the cycle. We are changing the rates of extraction. There's been a reduction of storages, a reduction of river flow and groundwater. Humans are redistributing water, moving surface water from one location to another using canals. As well, humans are slowing surface flow behind dams. Humans are changing the rates of evaporation and infiltration and runoff through agricultural practices and deforestation. And humans are changing the quality of runoff through pollution. Urbanization and increasing population numbers are both putting pressure on water resources, making worse all of the ways in which people interact with water. Agriculture has an impact on surface runoff and infiltration. Irrigation extracts water from rivers or from groundwater and spreads it out on the land. Now, as I present images of the human impact on the hydrological cycle, I want you to be thinking, what's the impact? Is it extraction and a reduction of storages? Is it a redistribution by canals or dams? Is it a change in the rate of evaporation, infiltration, or runoff? Or is it a change in the quality of the runoff? Or is it some combination of these 4 ways in which humans have an impact on the water cycle? Irrigation canals divert water from the river's channel and redistribute the water to locations that need more water. Now be thinking, what's the impact? Is it increasing rates of extraction with a reduction of storages? Is it a redistribution of water in canals and dams? Is this influencing the rate of evaporation or infiltration or runoff? Or is this influencing the quality of runoff? Pollution. In certain situations, so much water is extracted from rivers that water no longer or rarely flows to the ocean. This is a photograph of the Colorado River in Mexico as it approaches its outlet with the ocean, and not much water is left. Water is extracted from the main channel of the river and then moved along canals for great distances, often across arid land. In these photographs, you can see canals transferring Colorado River water into arid Arizona. People extract water from rivers and redistribute water to provide for people's needs, mostly agriculture. Water is moved from places with water to places without water, typically arid locations, as you can see here. China has planned massive water redistribution projects that would redistribute water from the wet south to the dry north. China plans to divert water from the high Himalaya, the Brahmaputra River, which runs into India, and move that water to the Yellow River here. You might imagine that India is very concerned about this plan. This is a canal that moves water from the Yangtze River in China to Beijing. Irrigation flooding increases the evaporation of water into the atmosphere and increases the infiltration of water into the soil. In agriculture, surface and groundwater irrigation dramatically redistributes water. Surface and groundwater storages are highly reduced as a result of irrigation. Irrigation dramatically redistributes water. Groundwater storages are highly reduced as a result of irrigation, and a lot of what was once groundwater now evaporates into the atmosphere. Urbanization has increased the demand for water in densely populated cities. This is increasing the amount of water extracted and diverted from the original river channels. Urbanization has increased the need for irrigation as urban areas require food, and growing food requires water. Dams have changed the course of rivers to provide irrigation water for the purposes of growing food. Large volumes of water are now held behind dams. Now be thinking, what's the impact here? Is it changing the rate of extraction with a reduction of storages? Is it a redistribution of water in canals or dams? Is it influencing the rate of evaporation or infiltration or runoff? Is it changing the quality of runoff by pollution? Or is it a combination of more than one of these? This is the Three Gorges Dam in China, one of the largest dams in the world. The dam holds back enough water such that the reservoir stretches over 650 kilometers behind the dam. Now, it's been said that dams in the northern hemisphere hold back so much water that the weight of the water has increased the speed of the Earth's rotation by fractions of a fraction of a second. This graph displays the flow of the Colorado River over time, and this graph displays the flow of the Colorado River before the building of the Hoover Dam on the river. The flow of the river was highly variable before the building of the dam, and once the dam was built, the river was changed, water was held behind the dam, and the flows became more uniform. Deforestation reduces the infiltration of water into the soil because the water runs off the land more quickly when it's been deforested. Deforestation reduces evapotranspiration, and less water is released to the atmosphere. Less water in the atmosphere means less precipitation. Now be thinking, what's the impact of deforestation? Is it changing the rate of extraction with a reduction of storages? Is it a redistribution of water in canals or dams? Is it influencing the rates of evaporation, infiltration, and runoff? Is it influencing the quality of runoff, pollution? Or is it a combination of more than one of these? Deforestation reduces the infiltration of water into the soil. Water runs off the land quickly, and the erosion of soil increases. In the photo on the left, the burned forest results in rapid water runoff into the gully, increasing the rate at which the gully is eroded. Notice how the water erosion has gouged the gully deeper. Increased rates of runoff muddies rivers, resulting in an increased flow of sediment to where the rivers meet the oceans, seen in the image on the right. Deforestation decreases natural infiltration and increases runoff. Deforestation alters the quality of runoff as the erosion of soil loss, can visibly be seen in the muddy river. Deforestation decreases natural infiltration and increases runoff. Soil integrity weakens without the trees to hold the soil in place. Landslides are the result. Deforestation and urbanization, as you can see in this image, decreases natural infiltration and increases surface runoff. Without trees to hold soil, the soil integrity weakens. Landslides are the result. In Thailand, deforestation has accompanied an increase in the population size and urbanization. The political boundary of Thailand is apparent in the deforestation. Unlike Laos or Myanmar or Cambodia, Thailand's deforestation defines the entire country. The world's population is 7.2 billion and growing. 51% of the world's population is now living in a city, and the percentage is growing. Both population growth and urbanization are putting pressure on water resources, increasing the demand for fresh water. And here's Bangkok in a flood stage. Urbanization alters runoff and infiltration of water into the ground. Urbanization prevents water from naturally infiltrating and percolating to become groundwater. Flooding can result. Urbanization decreases infiltration and increases runoff. Urban flooding increases. Urbanization decreases infiltration and increases runoff. Urban flooding increases. Pollution alters the quality of surface runoff. People use the flow of rivers as a means to get rid of waste from their immediate environment. As a result, most surface water is no longer drinkable. With urbanization comes sewage, and pollution such as sewage alters the quality of runoff. People use the flow of rivers as a means to get rid of waste from their immediate environment. As a result, most surface water is not drinkable. Most surface water is not available. Over the course of this movie, I have presented these two IB syllabus statements, and I have suggested that human activities are having the following impact on the hydrological cycle. Human activities are changing the rates of extraction. Thus, there's been a reduction of storages, a reduction of river flow and groundwater. Humans are redistributing water, moving surface water from one location to another using canals. As well, humans are slowing surface flow behind dams. Humans are changing the rates of evaporation, infiltration, and runoff through agricultural practices and deforestation and urbanization. And humans are changing the quality of runoff through pollution. Urbanization and increasing population numbers are putting pressure on water resources, making worse all of the ways in which people interact with water. And that brings us to the end of IB ESS, Water and Aquatic Food Production, Part 3.